Hello everyone and welcome back to World Builder. You might be thinking to yourself, hey, wait a minute, this isn't the desert city. Where are we right now? And, we're not too far away. You can see the desert in the background of this shot. I'm pretty sure it's the same desert, and if it's not, it's really close. Yeah, it's not too terribly far away. The render distance just isn't high enough to see it from here. Anyway, the reason that we're over here today is because I was getting a bit burnt out at the desert area. I was running out of ideas, and I didn't want to do any of the final decorations until 1.14 came out, which it will be very soon. So in the next episode we might do that. I don't know. So once those new, decorative blocks come out, that'll make decorating that area a lot easier. And I still have the interior of the keep to do, and I'm not sure that I will. I want to, but also that's a lot of work, and I'm not really feeling that right now. So once 1.14 comes out, I will be happy to get the city itself finished, but the interior of things is going to have to wait a bit more. So, we're over here in the swamp. I had some ideas for a swamp village. Not nearly as large as the desert city, just a couple of houses. I want it to look sort of poorer in terms of the way the houses are built, and it's just a small little fishing village. So, to begin with here, we have to do some terraforming, because the natural terrain was terrible. So we started by removing all of the trees and filling in some of the random patches of water, and now I wanted this little hill thing to become a cliff, because I like cliffs, and I wanted to terraform one. So, I wanted to put something on top of the hill, so we have to expand the top of this cliff out. And here you can see planning for a house that I want to put up on here. And this will be like the mayor's house, I guess. So, the next thing is to add another layer of material around the outside, and then I try to figure out a way to make this cliff merge in with the hill that's already there, and it takes me a while. It's just, the issue was that I wasn't trying to make a smooth curve, which is what I should have been trying to do. I was trying to make it curve inward and then outward again, and it's just not going to work. I needed to make a smoother curve, which is why it took me so long. Anyway, the next step here is going to be to bring down the second layer and add random bits of dirt on the underside of that, just to make it seem like the dirt's kind of hanging over before the cliff itself starts. And you can kind of see that better at this angle. So, I wanted the cliffs to go back a bit, so I had to get rid of the walls that were already there, just so I had room to work with the cliffs and building them. And I wanted it to kind of move up the hill that's there, so to where it starts going from the top all the way to the ocean, and then as it moves along, the cliff itself gets smaller and smaller. So, now we start bringing down the stone. And this is probably the most difficult part of the whole thing, because I have to make it merge from the top to the bottom in a way that looks pleasing, and not just a flat wall. It's just a lot of random block placing, and going back and editing it, fixing it, making sure that it looks okay, all that stuff. It's a lot of trial and error, just seeing, oh, I like that, okay, I'm going to keep that, and then just moving on, and working the way down the cliff. It does take a while, and if I were to add other things in there, like mixing in blocks and all that stuff, which I will do eventually, by the way, probably very soon, before we start building houses and stuff here, mixing in blocks and stuff, any trees, adding leaves, all that stuff would make this take even longer. So it does take a bit of time, but it is well worth it for the end result. So what I tried to do here was create like a point where the top meets the bottom kind of directly, and just to help me make the turn that's there, because it was kind of an abrupt turn, and I think that that helped me kind of make it. But it also provided a bit of an issue because then I had to work around that. And I feel like if I had not done that and instead just tried to make it flow naturally, it would have been a bit easier to do in the end. But I think the result still looks really good. Um, there was already a large, like, straight line there, so all I did was take out a couple of blocks from that to make the cliff face that's seen here. So, I didn't really know what exactly I wanted to do with this, like the rise that's easily seen here, because I thought originally that making it a cliff would make the cliff look too long. I ended up making it a cliff, but that's beside the point. I started making this side slope down gradually, because it looked really odd the way it was, where it was just like a hill and then it slopes up suddenly to get to it. And I wanted to make the hill a lot more gradual. And this gradual hill fuses in with the terrain that's already there, and it helps to merge in that way. So, I did want to get rid of this, that little side hump thing, because it didn't really fit. And this is the process of making a cliff, similar to the process that I went for on the other side. So, there was a bit of a cut here. I went and smoothed out this part of the hill already. I didn't really mean for there to be a cut there, but that's what happens when you don't press the record button, is things generally don't record. So, what I did here is I brought out the coastline a bit just so it was easier to see, though I may go back and change that later. Because of the way the cliff works, it would be kind of weird for some of it to be directly like cliff and then flat. So I'll probably go back and change it a little bit. But this is the same process I did on the other side, just going down in a slope. And this cliff, the end result of this cliff looks really nice. Like, the slope I made with the dirt coming down is a really nice looking curve, and the cliff itself really blends in well, and I like the way it looks. So just a lot of random block placement, filling in the bottom with grass, and you can see here adding a couple more dirt blocks around the top, and it's just a really nice looking cliff in the end. So now we come to the other side of this, which is not as nice looking of a cliff. And as I mentioned earlier, this is mostly because I didn't try to make it a smooth curve, and I was doing it way too harshly of a transition, and that is the problem. If I had made it a smoother curve, it would have looked a lot nicer. And I think the end result was still pretty good, but keeping it a smooth curve to begin with would have made it way easier to do. But yeah, the process is the same. It's just a lot harder on this small of a scale to do. So, now that that's made, we gotta bring the other side of this over that, like, chunk error thing. I don't know why that's there. It just, maybe it was natural, maybe my world's corrupt. I don't know. Hopefully the world isn't corrupt, but it could be. Who knows? Anyway, that hillside got smoothly integrated for the most part, and now we look over here to the back, where this hillside has to be smoothly integrated. So there is a very, I'm trying to make a smooth hill, but that side is a very, I'm pointing as if you can see it, the cliff face there is very not what I want in this particular area. So, gotta come in here and bring the whole thing down slowly. And this was a challenge because the cliff itself was really flat, and I didn't want it to just be flat rows of blocks coming down. I wanted there to be some sort of shape to it, so it wasn't super bland and boring. And as we come down here, it just comes in nicely and smoothly integrates with the floor. And I do a bit more terraforming in that hillside just to make it look a bit nicer. And with that, I'm going to leave this here. Leave a like, subscribe if you enjoyed, leave a comment with feedback you have for me, and I'll see all of you later. Bye.